Let me ask you something. Do you ever feel a bit bored with your clothes? Like just the stuff you're wearing, it feels a bit lifeless, a bit drab, a bit uncharacterful? Well, I've got just the thing for you. Not only am I delighted to say that this week's episode is sponsored by the wonderful Don't Feed the Bears clothing, a wonderful independently run family business from Yorkshire, but they are also offering an exclusive 10% discount code for listeners and viewers of this podcast. All you have to do is go onto the wonderful don'tfeedthebears.co.uk website, pick out anything from all the hundreds of different things they have, hats, bags, jumpers, hoodies, you name it, they've got it. All wonderfully hand-printed, bear adjacent, colourful designs. And at the checkout, enter the discount code DEAD10. That's DEAD, D-E-A-D, and then the number 10, 10, for your exclusive 10% off. I also want to add that sometimes people think that if you have a sponsor as a podcast, you really have to give them a good plug. That's not the case here. I've been wearing the clothes from Don't Feed the Bears for years, and in fact I approached them to see if they'd be interested in sponsoring this. That's how highly I rate them. I wanted to be able to wear their stuff all the time. And from one independent podcast to an independent company, help each other out. So do check them out, and thanks again for listening to Stop Watering Dead Flowers. Welcome back to another episode of Stop Watering Dead Flowers with me, your host Chris Forbes, in association with the Stand Comedy Club, where we are here recording, and also proudly with our new sponsor, Don't Feed the Bears. If you like any of the clothing that you've seen me wearing through the episodes, anything here draped behind me, if you like your clothing bear or animal based and a bit quirky, please check out Don't Feed the Bears. We've got a special...
And if you're listening on Spotify, that's a pointless statement to make.
Well, you can watch on Spotify as well.
You can watch it on Spotify.
You can now.
You do that?
Aye.
Right. Well, good. Well, if you're watching on Spotify, good for you. I didn't know you could do that.
And if you are, and you've seen anything you like, please go onto their website and you get a special exclusive discount code for listeners of this podcast, and it's just DEAD10. That's D-E-A-D 10. You'll get 10% off.
Is that T-E-N or 1-0?
What?
D-E-A-D 10. No, is it Dead 10?
Dead 10.
T-E-N or 1-0?
It's 10.
So get that. That's D-E-A-D 10. Dead 10. Don't put in D-E-A-D-T-E-N. You're not getting a discount. Is it reasonably priced?
They're very...
Is it designer wear? What is it?
They're very reasonably priced. A small independent business, and they just do these quirky designs, animals, you know.
Right. And what is this you've got? This a polar bear? This is a bear in the back of a Tyrannosaurus.
There's always a bear included. This one's on the back of a dinosaur. We've got a narwhal with a bear and a lizard riding him, and then just a big bear on a jumper there.
Well, you know, famously, I stopped a bear getting a feed.
You stopped a bear?
You know, famously, I saved a guy's life.
Oh, this is...
You know this?
No, but I feel like I've heard a version of this story.
Right. So, what year is this? When was the year I had the stroke? 2 years ago, wasn't it?
Yep.
So, 6 weeks before the Edinburgh Festival, in June 2023, there's a fella, a veterinarian,
Right.
retired vet from Edinburgh. So, he was hiking the Pacific Trail in the Northwest, American Northwest. He's coming through the woods, right? And he's listening to an episode of Breaking the News, which I was on. Now, apparently at the time, I was talking about all the things I got up to when I was 16-year-old and things that I'd done when I was a youngster. And a bear jumped out in front of him on the trail, and it looked as though, I'm having you for dinner, you ball-bag, right? But as soon as the bear reared up, my voice came out the guy's speakers, and the bear shat it and went back into the woods. And the guy sent me an email, and he related that story. That's the story related. And he said, "Thank you, Raymond, for saving my life. There you go. Fucking there you go." So that bear didn't get a feed.
Well, what a way of, in terms of an introduction, I haven't even done that now, but now to add to a list of, we have Raymond Mearns on the podcast, comedian, actor,
Oh, have you not introduced
bear
me yet?
scarer. I mean...
Scare bear, scared of the bird. Who is? What? No, bear scarer. See, I wasn't there. I don't even have to be in the same country. I'm saving lives. remotely. I'm like omnipresent. I'm like God or something. Right? I'm just sitting in my dining room. I didn't even have trousers on. And I saved a guy's life. That's how it's done in a big league.
Well, welcome back to another episode. Stop watering dead flowers. Stop watering dead flowers. Now, Raymond, without blowing too much smoke up your ass at the beginning, you are a kind of bona fide legend of Scottish comedy, at the very least in terms of stand-up, but you've done acting in films, you've been in hundreds of radio,
let's take this
TV.
bona fide legend, right? This is just a sop to my vanity, right? This is bollocks, right? I'll tell you the secret to becoming a legend. Have nowhere else to go. Burn every fucking bridge. And then you have to just get on with your pishy wee life and do what you're doing because there's no escape. That's how you do it. What you do is you fuck everybody off through your life. I've been doing this for 31 years and there's more than a few pissed off people trailing in my wake and powerful people, which is why I've never fucking made it, which is why I'm in the back doing his podcast so you can get a discount on bear-related attire. So you enjoy wearing that T-shirt. Just a minute. It's getting washed in my pain. So what's your point, caller?
I was just going to mention that having been someone that's performed in a variety of different mediums.
Well, I used to be called the King of the Toilets.
The King of the Toilets.
That was my nickname way back in the day when I started, right? The King of the Toilets. No, I'm not a homosexual cottager. What happened was, see, I was never booked. Right, see, I started comedy in 1994 and nobody would book me.
Yeah.
I remember calling, phoning up, what's her name? Karen Corin, who runs a Gilded Balloon. And I was a very successful salesman back in the day because I'm dogged, I'm determined, I don't give up, right? And I would phone her up because she ran a gig and Joe Heenan was a compere. And I'd say, Karen, hello, it's Raymond Mearns, can I get a gig? She says, no, you can't. I think you're just very guttural, and fucking hung up.
Guttural.
So nobody would book me, right? Nobody would book me. I was too in everybody's face. And I was a madman. I'm still a madman, right? But I'm a refined madman. Right, and what happened was I wanted to do comedy, so what I would do, I would just find gigs anywhere.
Yeah.
Right, some mad pub somewhere where the punters wouldn't even pay in, and I would just do gigs because nobody would book me. I was persona non grata in the comedy industry. All through in the 90s, but I still had a good job and all that. So I'd made money than all these fucking bams anyway. It didn't bother me, right? And what I used to do, I would be a, quite well-paid technology sales guy during the day and then roll about the flare with the dregs of humanity at night in some unspeakable shithole somewhere in Scotland. And so what happened was, I remember a guy saying to me, you've damaged your career. I went, my fucking career? What do you mean you've damaged your career by doing all these mad gigs? I says, nobody was going to book me. Nobody would book me. They wouldn't take my calls. So, I need, will out. You just go to do it your way. I would do gigs in boozers and book other people, and it just went for there. I remember Gary Chippington, who's one of the editors at the BBC. I used to run this gig in the Merchant City in this mad fake Irish pub. And Gary Chippington, he said to me, Lucy Bacon and I used to come and watch you every Tuesday in that gig. And it was remarkable what you'd done. You would come on and you would lift the room and with your madness, and you just make stuff up and interact with the audience, and then you would get an act on and the place would die, and then you go back on again and you would lift it up again, and then you would get an act on and it would die, and then you would come back on and lift it up again, and then you get the closer on and it would die. And it was remarkable. That's what he told me.
Big shout out to the rest of those bills back in the day.
Yeah, I don't know if some of them might still be working. In fact, I remember the fantastic David Kay.
Right.
I
Love
gave
David's.
David his first gig
Right.
in that boozer in
No
the
way.
Merchant City. And look where he is now, working for a living. But David's fantastic.
He's great.
He's great.
Well, to try and go back to the loosely the format of this podcast, because you are someone that has done many different things and you've worked in loads of different lines, and even within the showbiz element, you've done a lot of things. I feel like this will lend itself quite well to you for having these particular moments throughout your life that have maybe haunted you, and yet
Haunted me.
yeah, you know, but at the same time, I know you as someone that's fearless, and we've spoken about this before, just at gigs that nothing, I think you even said to me recently at the weekend there, you were like, nothing scares you anymore. Like,
Well,
you're not someone that's easily embarrassed or humiliated or...
Well, humiliation is, I suppose, different for being scared of something. Well, I mean, everybody feels fear, but what it is you get experience. I mean, you've been gone a while as well, right? You've been gone a few years. How long you been gone? I mean, you've been gone for fucking years,
20
man.
years
20
next
years,
year.
because I remember you were this young fella just out of school, you know, virgin and everything. You know, fuck, it was pathetic. And so you know what it's like. You come into situations and sometimes you're not sure what the play is, or what the lie of the land, or something's not set up right. And you just, you get through it. You're not fighting the Taliban, for fuck's sake. You're only doing comedy, right? You know, so what's the worst that could happen? You make an arse of yourself. And that in itself is compelling. Right? It's wonderful to see somebody making an arse of themselves. It's fantastic because you go, he's making an arse of himself. That is brilliant. Right? It's total entertainment. And so you just become very experienced. You navigate your way through it. You go into any given situation and you just do your best.
Yeah.
And you get through it. I feel fear. Sometimes you feel kind of trepidation as you go into a situation. But you just go, you know what? Do your best. Any given time. And that's all you can do. So it's merely a practical thing for me. It's mere, I don't think about it beyond any sense of, this is what I do, this is how I make my living. Just go on stage and do your best. And don't be afraid to fail. You're going to make an arse of it. You're going to fail. Sometimes you're going to fail, and then your dad's going to say, your head's full of broken bottles. I told you were a fucking diddy, son. Get a trade. So my dad's still in there telling me all these things. Don't be afraid to fail. That's your life. And see if you don't live your life the way you want to live it. Nobody's going to regret it at the end of your days except you. So fucking get on with it. Stop sitting there dreaming about it. Make it happen. The Nike sign, just do it. Greatest advertising slogan in history.
There you go.
What was the question?
Well, let's do this before the experience and before it became practical for you to be fairly fearless in the line of that type of work. Going back to your childhood, is there a moment you were able to pick out in terms of this podcast, one thing that still you maybe wake up at night and you remember it and it kind of annoys you?
That annoys me. Is there any time in my childhood that annoys me?
Well, maybe not annoys you, but something you've never been able to get over or forget.
I played Subbuteo when I was a kid, right? And I played in the Scottish Championships.
Oh, really?
No, but it wasn't that difficult. I mean, I turned up and we'd arranged Subbuteo League amongst the kids, my brothers and my mates. But we didn't play the rules properly. When you play Subbuteo, if you play the completely by the rules, when you take a throw in, then when the ball comes back into play, the player cannot cross into the field of play. So you've got to take the throw in. Well, you flick the wee player to hit the ball, but the player cannot cross onto the field of play. If he does, then it's a foul throw. And that caught me out and this wee guy beat me 2-0. And it's fucking annoyed me to this day, right? It's fucking... And he was like, you know, he's a wee tramp, right? And my mother, I remember I was being my mother says, I'm ashamed of you losing to that wee boy.
She was ashamed of you losing against Sabutio.
And you know, that haunts you, doesn't it? I mean, my mother, she's dead now, so the joke's on her. Right? Oh, no, right. You can keep that in if you want.
Sabutio, though, I mean, I think, and I don't think I'd be alone in this, I didn't realise Sabutio was that big that there was like championships.
Yeah, the world champion at the time was a boy called Andrea Picaluga, an Italian boy. He was a world champion.
That's mad.
So, but if you won the Scottish Championships in your age bracket,
right,
then you went to play in the Europeans and in the World Cup.
That's mad. Did you ever face that a particular opponent again?
Who do we get? No, I retired after that. I retired. I properly retired. I discovered girls.
Well, that's an unusual one. I mean, that's
an unusual one.
I don't know what I was expecting, but I wasn't expecting Sabutio to have...
Well, I wasn't expecting the question. So I'm mining my memories here. So, I played Sabutio, and it just makes you had to practice a lot, right? And I was never great at practicing. Get pumped out in the first round, and that was it. And I never played again. Right. And it was incongruous as well, because I wore an Aston Villa jersey, but the team I used was the Northern Ireland strip, and they were all green. My team was in all green, and I was wearing an Aston Villa jersey, and they were going,
you deserve to lose, really, for the clash.
And the guy who's organising it, you come in the cupboard with me, I'm going to have a word with you. And I tell you, there's many ways you can get a free team.
Well, moving on to the next question, and I imagine now, from what I'm gleaming so far, is perhaps the document I sent you might not have been read.
I never read the document.
But I don't think that's going to harm this episode.
You said bring 4 stories. What the fuck? Bring 4 fucking stories. I never read the fucking document. You know I never read it. Did Nelson read the document? Does anybody read it? Fucking document. You made a document. It wasn't even personalised. Everybody gets it. See, the minute I saw it was just a generic shitey document, I wiped my arse with it. The only problem is it was still on my laptop at the time, so I need a new laptop. So it was merely a scrape.
I think this episode is probably going to benefit from you having not known what I'm going to be asking you about.
Yeah, I've not got a fucking clue what you're going to ask me.
Because now basically all the stories we're asking people about are similar to that, but at different stages of your life. Things that maybe linger as a bit of a regret. Things you couldn't get over. Dead flowers that you continue to water, which is why it's called Stop Watering Dead Flowers.
Is that what it's called? Is that I can see this? I always wondered. I thought it was a pretty mental name. So it's called Watering the Dead Flowers?
Stop Watering Dead Flowers.
Stop Watering Dead Flowers.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not so sure. What's interesting, I don't really live in the past. Here's my view of it. I live, you know this, you've known me long enough. I live completely in the moment. And it's a great way to live.
Yeah.
Right. Dale Carnegie wrote a book called How to Stop Worrying and Start Living. And he tells you, don't dwell on the past, because it's fucking done. It's finished. Now, you still have resentments now, right? You have things that happened. I mean, there was an interesting thing. A mate of mine at school, I remember, I was a good artist. I was very good at art at school. And the Pope was coming to Scotland in 1982. Pope John Paul II was coming to Scotland, right, to sign for Celtic. And what happened? We done a poster about a papal visit, and it was a kind of map of Scotland, and it was in Latin, Papa Giovanni Paul, it was in Italian, blah, blah, fucking blah. And it had a Scottish flag and a papal flag. And this mate of mine, he was in the class, he was a thick as shite, he wasn't very artistic. So the teacher says, can you let him help you? And I went, I don't need any help. Right, I'm doing fine on mine. But she says, let him help you, he's a bit of a tube. And so I says, right, you paint this Saltire. He painted the cross fucking blue. Right, he painted the cross on a Saltire fucking blue, and I couldn't. I had to fucking paint another one and stick it on it because he fucked it right up. And this was in second year at school, and I was in the boozer with him years later. And I was Stephen and went, you fucked up my Pope poster. He went, fucking dry your eyes. And he was 6'5" and he fucking lettered me. That's what you get. He fucked up my poster and he gave me a doon. But I'm alright about that. You know.
But ideal for this podcast.
But I told the Pope about it. He's doomed. He's getting red hot pokers up his hole for eternity now. Thank you, Papa.
Do you ever still draw? I mean, you were obviously into your art, did you?
I draw the dolls up. No, I don't draw. No.
Well, other than childhood ones, we often like to ask people as well if they've got anything that sticks in their
Sorry, I was
heads.
talking about Dale Carnegie. You got to get his book, right? So it says, live your life in day-tight compartments. Don't think about the past. It's done. Forget it. The best you can hope for is you learn from it. Whether getting some sort of analysis of the situation and you learn about people, but mostly you learn about yourself and your own reaction to it. Because your own reaction to it oftentimes can be more detrimental to you. And what you don't realise, and what people should realise, see, the biggest problem in your life is fucking you. You, by the way. Aye, fucking you. You're the problem in your life. Not me. But you got to go, who are you fat cunt? You're the problem in your life. And if you're listening, you've no idea what I just did there. So I'm talking to you. Who? The listener. I'm inside your head.
So you'd recommend the book?
Live in Day-Tight Compartments. How to Win... No, that was the other Dale Carnegie book. How to Win Friends and Influence People. Yeah. It's How to Stop Worrying and Start Living by Dale Carnegie. And then he says as well, don't worry about the future. The sun's going to come up. The tide's going to come in. You never know what the tide's going to bring in. It might be condoms and jobbies, but sometimes there might be a message in a bottle. No, so live in the day. So, what was the question?
Well, I'm gonna crowbar in formatted questions, but feel free to speak your mind, Raymond. Similarly to the childhood one, like your Subbuteo one, then we often ask if there's another particular moment from any point in your career, any time when you had a job, doesn't necessarily have to be comedy or acting or job that you had before comedy. Is there a moment that sticks with you from then again that you're like, God, I wish that hadn't happened, or I wish I'd dealt with that differently? Or...
I don't know. Nah, I can't answer that. I've clearly not read the brief. I think. I don't think. See, if you have regrets, I think to have regrets is. I don't really have regrets.
Yeah.
I kind of accept everything and expect nothing. And I truly mean that. And I think, who was it? Was it Henry David Thoreau, or was it Walt Whitman? You own the day. I mean, some absurdities will no doubt creep in.
Yeah. But
he who worries about tomorrow, he doesn't live in the day, does he own the day? I'm paraphrasing, but that's kind of how everything that has happened, some horrible shit happened. So, I mean, I was born with a hole in my heart. I had open heart surgery when I was 26-year-old. But I don't look back on any of it and go, that was bad. I think I'm quite an optimistic kind of person, even though most people think I'm a miserable arsehole. But that's what I put out to the world because I don't want anybody to know. You know.
Well, that's good. It feels like you've already mastered what the rest of us are talking about in this podcast, which is you don't seem to water dead flowers, which is very positive.
I don't think I do. You interact with people. Everything every social interaction has kind of got a kind of mercantile quality, insofar as if you read that book by any of the stuff by Alfred Adler, he's one of the psychoanalysts. He says there's all kind of human interactions are there to serve a purpose. So you see this all the time. People come up to you and go, oh, that's lovely, I love your shoes. Well, a load of fucking bullshit, right? Well, a load of fucking phony bullshit. Oh, I love your dog, I love your mouth. Fuck you. Hey, it's bullshit. What you after? What you after? Just fucking ask me for something. If you want something and I've got it, I'll fucking give you. Hey, don't give me all this bullshit. Hey, that's the thing which is, I avoid that. I mean, you've known me a long time. And I'm not one of these people that I don't think I do that. No. I'm straight to the point.
Yep.
And I don't fanny about.
I would say, yeah, maybe you're a quintessential example of calling a spade a spade. You don't mess up.
What do you go that for? I'm absolutely capable of fucking complete bullshit. Yeah, I'm very good at it. I fucking good at doing a tea. So I'm trying to think. I don't. So that's what it means. Watering the dead flowers. I don't know that I do. Yeah. I don't know that I do. And I kind of don't think I've got I don't see much point in having regrets. You just accept it and learn from it.
Well, really. In case it sparks anything, the other one we tend to cover is a relationship thing. If anything's happened in a relationship at any point in your life, be it romantic or not, or family, if there's a relationship moment or something that maybe you think you could have.
I'll tell you, right. So, as you know, I have children like yourself. You've started to breed, and I was breeding a long time ago because the social security situation lent itself to that. And I tell you what, if there is, okay, here you go. I was a fucking terrible father and husband. Right. I'm on my second marriage now. Right. But my first marriage was a fucking car crash. I'm a terrible person. Right. And I think my two kids now are in their 30s.
Yeah.
Right. And they say, Dad, you weren't that bad.
Yeah.
It's obvious I was a bit useless.
Well, you just said I'm a terrible person, but do you just mean you were a terrible person at that point, handling so much at a young age?
Yeah, I kind of, you know, some people kind of are able at times in their life to live their life in a very kind of deliberate, maybe planned fashion. I never ever thought it was possible to plan things. I never kind of really had this understanding of cause and effect. I just thought that's your life, you've made your bed, fucking lie in it, and that's that. And you're just an unlucky guy. You're not an unlucky guy, you're just as ignorant as fuck. You don't have a clue what you're doing, and you're doing your best, and you're fucking ignorant. You've not got a clue. And you're propelling yourself through life and you're making huge mistakes. But again, I don't know how you circumvent that. Maybe I had a lack of role models. Because funny enough, I mean, I was speaking to my wee brother the other month there and he was saying, my dad, I love my dad, he's dead now, I love him. And he was a very kind of, what's the word? Quite an incomplete person as well. He was a very unreconstructed Glasgow guy that drank like fuck and never worked and battered every wain that got in front of him, which his own wains. And I remember saying, I mean, what that? Wasn't he worth a fuck? And that's what he says. And I know what he meant by that. He wasn't a good role model.
Aye.
I see guys maybe with their sons and I kind of go, I'll tell you something that happened to me, right? Actually, I'll tell you something that happened. I was in a gig one night. It was way back in the 90s. I was in this gig and I finished the gig and I'm having a drink at the bar and there's a guy at the bar, a young fella, but the same age as me. I was only, late 20s then. And I says, where you fae? He says, Skegness. I says, no, you're Scottish. He says, I'm from Kilmarnock, but I work in Skegness as a photographer. And I went, what are you doing up here? He says, I'm up to bury my dad. Now, my dad was still living then. And I says, oh, fucking, just give me that chance. Yeah, I'd fucking love to bury my dad. So I hated him, hated my father. But you hate yourself. It was interesting. And he told me this, he says, oh no, I loved my dad. I loved my dad. And he told me this story about how his dad took him fucking fishing and all that, and like a fucking Hollywood movie. Right. And I think at that point I kind of went, how the fuck did you have a dad like that and I fucking didn't? What did I finger pandas in a previous life or something? What the fuck did I do to deserve this? So you're full of self-loathing and self-pity and everything. So you look back now and you can see what that is, and you can absolutely see how fucking futile it is to be in that space. But so I was not always a Zen master, young Mr. Forbes.
Yeah, but maybe that's why you're so kind of philosophically leaning now, because you've got those moments to look back on and think, that was hard, but now you've...
Yeah, and it actually, you can see how you're the problem in your life, in that your emotional reaction to situations, words, thoughts in your head, and then the actions, you're doing things which aren't good for you, and your body's not going to thank you for. You're fucking taking drugs and drinking and comfort eating or doing whatever you're doing. It's easy, you get some distance to it and you understand that. But you're the one who's got to learn. Nobody's coming to save you. You've got to recognise there's a better way to live your life. But nobody showed me that.
Yeah.
So I see guys with their wee boys, and I go, and I kind of think to myself, I would, even though it's completely futile, I would love that time again. To bring my children up properly. But then again, you might go back and do it right and they end up a pair of arseholes. So there's nothing you can do about it. So life is life. So like I say, I expect nothing, I accept everything. Yeah.
Well, that's a lovely one though as well. That's a nice one to have said, even though you weren't planning to speak about it.
Being poignant on camera.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, fucking arsehole. The man's got a soul, he's got a heart. No, I've not. I'm making all this up. I've not got wings, I've been married, I live in a bin.
Although that is the second time, even throughout this chat, that you've been like, I just don't want people to know I'm actually a good guy. Because you are but what I mean is, you are a big softie a lot of the time.
Oh, absolutely, 100%.
And people might not know that. Maybe if they've just come and seen you on stage and they're just like, look at this guy, he's so quiet and roasting people. But you are a big softie. So
everybody knows that, and it doesn't take anything to just. Life's like a mirror. If you smile in there, it smiles back at you. I just kind of spend... I think because we're lone wolves in the comedy industry, right? We spend so much time on our own, we kind of become a wee bit antisocial. Yeah. And we forget, actually, that, it takes nothing just to smile and, hello, how are you? But I kind of get embarrassed because nobody with a happy childhood ever went into entertainment, right? They went and got a real fucking job and made money and lived in some mock Tudor gulag and washed their motor on Sunday morning. But see, for me personally, it was always this feeling that you've got no self-esteem. That's why I do comedy. I want people to hear my voice, right? And you're almost forcing yourself on people. And it's a deflection, it's a distraction, because I always felt I wasn't worth anything. Right? It's a kind of internalised feeling. You got personality disorder. They call it you're avoidantly attached. Right? You feel you're unworthy of love. Right, and it goes back to the days when I was a kid. I was born with a diaphragmatic hernia, and then they discovered I had a hole in the heart, and I spent a lot of my childhood from birth to about 2-year-old in hospital. So that's the psychobabble behind it. And so I was insufficiently nurtured by my principal caregiver and all that, blah, blah, blah. So, but weirdly, so I think I'm not worthy of love. So what you do is you then, you internalise that feeling. This is the theory, but it seems to fit how I rationalise it. So you then go, I think I'm no good. I think, who would want to know me? I don't even want to know me. So I don't imagine anybody else would want to know me. So I'm not very good in social situations because I just presume I'm no liked. No, it's weird.
Yeah.
And it's clearly maybe no true. Right. But it's a way I've kind of become. And in a funny way.
Saying you've got a defence mechanism before you've even engaged.
It's your fucking suit of armour, innit?
Aye.
It's your suit of armour. Fucking little shield of steel. I know you're going to hurt me, so I'm not letting you in.
Yeah. It's funny because you've probably been told this type of thing in different ways before, but I can't imagine you not doing comedy or comedy not have becoming your career. But if there was something else, what could it have been? Because I just feel like...
I'd be a chef.
A chef?
A chef. I'd be a top chef.
Well, in fact, you have told me that in the last car journey we did. I didn't realise how...
I'd be a Michelin-starred chef. I'm a fucking brilliant cook.
I didn't realise how much you were into your food and your coffee and your...
Look at the size of it, man. I love grub.
But just...
In fact, I'm going to eat this microphone.
But that's interesting, you know. Even just you say the power of bullshitting, but then also being able to speak about things, you know, freely and free. But I just think stand-up's so suited for you. But a chef, that would have been the thing you'd have pursued. You think if you had the chance?
100%.
Wow.
100%. If I wasn't doing stand-up, I would be cooking. I'd be a chef somewhere. I might be a rolling sausage van on an industrial estate. But it'd be fucking some rolling sausage. Good quality sauce and everything, man. Butter on the roll. And a steak sausage. You want a doubler? Bit of black pudding? Oh. With these rolls of sausage. Ambassador, you're spoiling us.
Well, I can only say really that never have been so pleased that someone hasn't read the format briefing for this podcast. Because if anything, I feel like we've got an even better insight into your life and history.
You can ask me anything. You know that, Chris. You can ask me anything and I'll answer it and I'll tell you and I'll try and be honest. I would hope I would try and be honest. You know, but it's, to me, I think, as I say this on stage, when we're on stage, I like to think that we're kind of spreading a wee bit of joy and a wee bit of love and kind of trying to build that kind of emotional attachment, like teachers and storytellers, and that's kind of where I come from, you know, despite my reservations about who I feel and that I am.
Yeah.
You know.
Do you think you'll ever stop comedy, or do you think you'll just you've got something in you that you'll keep performing?
On the money I make, it's very doubtful I will ever stop comedy. I don't think I will ever be... On the money you're paying me, in fact, you've just put an extra 2 years on my career. Can fuck off for this. I get nothing. In fact, your 10% discount's coming out my arse.
Did you ever think there was a moment, because I think you joked about it earlier on in this, where people talk about making it and it being it's a very arbitrary thing now, but in terms of that classic, maybe 10, 20 years ago, making it was just, you were on TV or you were a household name or something. Do you think there was a moment throughout your career in comedy where you were close to what was stereotypically thought of as, making it or breaking through to that type of household name status?
No. Well, I've had a lot of... I've made films with big directors and stuff that's won BAFTAs and been in Limmy's show and do you know the sitcom Legit with Jordan, for instance? And you know, I've kind of touched the sun. You know, there's a few times where I've kind of got some amazing jobs working with people like Stephen Fry and all that, right?
It's mad.
And what it is all part of the kind of it's the tapestry of a career. And it's like I said earlier, being successful is just staying in it.
Yeah.
It's just, what you do is you suddenly turn round and go, Christ, look what I've done. And it's a bit like throwing enough mud at the wall and it sticks. That's all you're doing. And that's all it is, and it's as simple as that. And it's about the work. It's about doing the work and about doing your best. And some of the stuff you do, it's not too clever. You maybe make an ass of yourself, you just don't know what you're doing, or you don't give enough direction or enough information. But if you always strive to improve and to learn and understand cause and effect and just keep moving forward, you're going to get somewhere. If you sit in your arse dreaming about it, you're not going to get anywhere.
Yeah.
You've got to get off your arse. Honestly, the distance between your dreams and the reality and making them come true is action. You've got to act. You've got to go up off your arse. You've got to go up on that stage and you've got to put it out there. Now, you might be shite, right? And you'll get laughed off the stage. Well, go up again and you might be shite again. If you go for 5 years and you keep dying in your hole, then it's probably not for you. Then go and be a chef. Go to a rolling sausage van on an industrial estate.
Is there any other parting words of wisdom or anything else you'd care to share before we say goodbye?
No, I think I've just said be excellent to each other. Try not to be a cunt. That's all. And go easy on yourself. The world kicks you in the bollocks every day anyway. There's no point torturing yourself.
Beautiful. Well, thank you very much for coming on. And as ever, thanks to everyone for watching, listening. Thanks to everyone at the Stand Comedy Club, Sean, Chris Thorburn, and as ever, like, share, subscribe, all the things you're supposed to do with a podcast. We'll see you next time.